there's a few people that couldn't make it that wanted to be able to have access to this information. Dr. Heidi, I'm going to announce you or introduce you, and then I'll let you say a little bit. But Dr. Heidi has her own private practice out of Dallas, Texas. She's a naturopath by background. She is an integrated functional medicine certified practitioner. She has many other qualifications behind her name. That is absolutely for sure. I met her about 4 years ago when it was just literally online as both of us were in the health and wellness building businesses. And we really started partnering, doing a few things with my background as a physical therapist and a health and wellness coach. And we got into genetics, and as Heidi did mine, and I was like, oh my God, this is blowing my mind. Everybody needs to know about this. And so we've integrated it in some of our women's programs that we're doing. But I introduced Heidi to what we're going to talk about today. And Heidi was very skeptical. She'll tell you herself. And when she did all of her due diligence and research, she was blown away because Heidi had been using sulforaphane-based products and some other things in her clinic. And when she started implementing the true power behind activation, she was shocked at the changes that it made in her clients and clients that she had been seeing for a while. So, Dr. Heidi, I'm going to have you just introduce yourself. I know you can only stay with us for a short time, but introduce yourself a little bit about like what who you are, that you've used every single genetic testing practically, not really, you guys, but many out there. She chose 3x4 genetics because of the power behind the report and the ease and the flow for us as clinicians to be able to, tell people their story. But on top of that, has taken, because of her ND, she knows the supplement world like the back of her hand. And I'll let her say why she said yes and what this is truly doing in her practice. So, Dr. Heidi, just a little introduction.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. And I'm so glad I got like, okay, this is a good time. I can do it because rarely does that happen. But yeah, I'm a naturopath. I've been practicing about 30 years now, not in various forms of functional medicine and practicing of that. And yeah, like Kelly said, genetic testing became a really big deal in functional medicine practices. And like I did all of them. And it ended up being a lot of fun facts, or it was tied to a supplement regime that was outrageous, expensive, and really didn't explain the whys and compelling reasons why you should be taking this or not based on this pathway or that pathway. So it was really confusing and not very, I think, actionable or helpful. And then I met Yale and 3x4 genetics. And that report is so great. And their genetic testing is so fabulous that you can dial in where you want to start, right? Because it's a lot of information. And so knowing where to start is such a big thing, right? And dialing that in with genetics, it was the most actionable result that I had. And everyone loves it. I mean, even I just show the example to people, like, I really want you to do genetics. And they're hesitant. They're like, no, I don't want to do it. And then I show them a sample of the report, and they're like, oh my God, it'll tell me all that. I'm like, yes, it's not just fun facts, and it's not tied to a supplement chain, right? That's something we decide as practitioners, dietitians with the clients to decide where do you want to start, what do we want to use, and make those choices together, right? And lifestyle. There's so much lifestyle about it, so it's totally functional medicine. So it's yeah, and I use sulforaphane predominantly and trying to activate NRF2 because again, years and years ago, people were talking about NRF2 activation. And one of the colleagues that I follow and work with is Dr. Perlmutter. And he was so strong in saying you absolutely have to activate NRF2. And several companies came out with a product. I didn't see a change. I didn't see a change in how people felt. I didn't see a change in their blood work. And then I started using Protandim, and the changes are profound. And even when I saw the changes, I have to say, I was like, coincidence or real? I'm not sure. And the more I used it, the more the coincidence went out the window and said, no, no, they started this product. And X amount of weeks later, they're saying, I don't know if it's a Protandim, but that's the only thing I started and I feel so much better. And at the same time, I would see changes in blood work, changes in like Dutch testing, where we would see changes in pathways and methylation and support that way, making sure all those dials are open and all the drains are going, and activating Nrf2 is essential to getting that to happen.
Oh my gosh, Heidi. So thank you for starting that. I know some of you guys were like, I don't even know what she said, and our Protandim what, you know what I mean? But I wanted you to hear Heidi's story because Heidi did her due diligence, went to PubMed, went to Google Scholar, looked at all of the clinical research. And I have to say that myself as a practitioner, I never even sold products before, you guys, right? As a physical therapist, that wasn't my area of expertise. And when this came across my path, I just knew I had genes that I wanted to keep quiet. And Heidi told me, because I have been taking this product for 11 years, and you guys, this is not a sell for the product. Let me tell you that. I am telling you, there is nothing more powerful in activating the Nrf2 pathway than this product. And the company and the science behind all of this is mind-blowing, and you just don't see it anywhere. But when she called me after we did my genetics, she said, you need to sit down. Did you know this and this and this and this? And I won't really go into deep into my genetics, but it's not so great. I don't really match them, but it's because of my choices. But one of them I have is I'm homozygous for the celiac gene. And she said, Kelly, every woman your age, I'm 52 today, so this was about me at 47. She said, every woman your age is homozygous for the celiac gene, should be so sick in bed with celiac and every other autoimmune by the time you're in your 40s. You like dodge this bullet by activating your Nrf2 pathway, because that's the job of the pathway, is to regulate genes to keep your good genes on and your bad genes off. So we're going to get into that. If you guys have questions, you can throw them over in the chat. You can hold them to the end. If Heidi has to jump off and I can't get your questions answered, we'll get them back answered to you. But our 100% goal of being here is to empower you as clinicians how to have the best tools in your toolbox to help your patients get the best results. That's why we're here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So anything else, Heidi, you want to say? I'm going to share screens here before we jump right in.
No, I think it's a good start, and let's go from there.
And Marcy, thank you so much for bringing us all together and learning this information, because honestly, there's so much out there. Sometimes it's hard to learn. So let me put this in present mode. And I put this a little special together for you guys because when I know I have an audience, then I can gear it towards an audience. If I would tell the same presentation to, I'll say a layperson, person that doesn't understand genetics, they would be so lost. They would not understand what we're talking about. So I wouldn't do it, right? But I'm really excited when I get to talk about it because of how exciting this truly is and how impactful this is. So we're going to talk about optimizing our genes and our genetic expression with Protandim Nrf2 and more, and really show you what this difference of Protandim Nrf2 is in activating the Nrf2 pathway versus sulforaphane or versus other things out there that are on the market. So I think most of us know, and I think there's a variety of clinicians on here today. Some of you guys are very new to 3x4 genetics. Some of you have been using it for quite some time. So I'm going to kind of go some things that are very like overview high level, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty of some specific genes here as well. So Nrf2 is the master regulator of gene expression. And when Heidi said the product Protandim, this is where it started. And I just wanted to briefly show you this, that this product was started back in the 1960s by this gentleman here in the white coat, Dr. Joe McCord. Dr. Joe McCord was a scientist and a researcher. He is one of the co-discoverers of SOD, superoxide dismutase. Okay, so literally, if you look up how antioxidants are measured, they are measured in McCord units after Dr. Joe McCord. So he won the Elliott Crescent Award based on his discovery of SOD. So that's pretty impactful, right? I mean, we're talking about Alexander Graham Bell, Henry Ford. I mean, these are people that have changed the way we function in life to get this sort of award. So he devoted his career to fighting the effects of oxidative stress, this damage that we're having. He did not know back then, we hadn't even mapped the human genome. He didn't know this was going to be a Nrf2 activator, a Nrf2 regulator. But he formulated this product after 40 years of research called the little yellow activator, Protandim Nrf2, and it launched back in 2003. You could buy this on the store shelves, GNC and Rite Aid. ABC News got wind of what this thing is. They did an ABC primetime investigative report. John Quinones, that you see on that ABC primetime screen there, he did his blood work, and in 2 weeks, his oxidative stress markers through T-bars, they reduced by 45%. So research got initiated not only in the United States, but all around the world based on that. So as we're having this introduction into gene activation, right, is just to make sure we're all really on the same page that gene activation is referring to the process of turning on specific genes within DNA to express proteins and enzymes for the critical various biological functions. And most of the time, the products that we're using to help clients aren't able to truly target at the gene level, right? They're targeting at a different level as a supplement versus activating genes. And this process plays obviously key roles in our health, influencing inflammation, detoxification, and an antioxidant stress response. A quick difference when I use the term activation, some people are like, Kelly, what exactly are you talking about? Since we're talking about genes, I think people are understanding that flipping on and off genes. But just to kind of have this overview of the difference of a supplement versus taking an activator product, a supplementation is providing the body with external sources of nutrients and antioxidants, right? Like your traditional vitamin C and vitamin E's, versus activation that can stimulate the body's natural ability to produce those antioxidants and protective enzymes through cellular pathways like Nrf2. So this was a clinical study based out of Washington State University that is now a 10-year-old study, literally February, oh my gosh, 10 years today, you guys, February 25th, 2015. And they just did a literature review of Nrf2. And the conclusion is that Nrf2 may well be the most extraordinary therapeutic and most extraordinary preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. So to me, that speaks volumes of what we have our hands on and what we're truly talking about. So as we move forward in understanding the Nrf2 pathway, again, we can go deep science, right? That it's a transcription factor and it regulates the expression of antioxidants and detoxification genes. These are some of the genes, and just so you know, right, that actually what's happening, right, is that Nrf2 detaches from the keep1 and it translocates to the nucleus where it binds to the ARE, the antioxidant response element inside your DNA, triggering the productions of endogenous antioxidants. And this process helps the body neutralize free radicals and reduce inflammation at the cellular level. And that is one, I mean, I don't know how many genetic testings that you guys have seen, but I will tell you after what I've seen and Heidi has seen, I mean, Heidi, maybe just for a moment, unmute and just share a little bit, like, when we look and see the top 3 pathways, right, that people have going on, this is almost one of the 3 is oxidative stress, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, you're right. When we look at the pathways, and I'm assuming most of you are familiar with 3x4 genetics and the pathways, oftentimes those top 3, oxidative stress is one of the key ones that show up. But in the line of oxidative stress and detox and all of that leads to inflammation. And so it's a big marker because of the down trickle effect that it can have on our gene set. And anything we can do to slow that down, wind it down, turn up the antioxidants, turn down the oxidative stress and free radical damage is a game changer. And things like, go ahead, Kelly, what you going to say?
Continue.
Yeah, things like, that are just in your face sort of inflammatory. One of the big things with asthma, with people who come in with a lot of asthma or have dealt with asthma their whole life, their oxidative stress in their genes are really high and in their blood work. And I'll tell you, the best thing is to turn on that Nrf2 and the antioxidant pathways, and it really changes their dose, how they feel from day to day. It's remarkable, and that's just one of the inflammatory processes that I see and work with a lot, that it has a profound effect.
That's so interesting that you say that, Heidi. Arthur, if you can unmute for a second. And you guys, I will say, when my husband started taking Protandim Nrf2, that was the number one thing that he saw an immediate change is within his asthma because he used to have, restriction and tightness. We would go to run. He'd be wheezing. He couldn't talk. He was always the guy every single winter with two bad chest colds with all of his asthma. And this was the biggest game changer for him. Arthur, anything you want to say? He's still at work, you guys. So he might
Yeah,
not
of course,
talk.
you're having me jump bomb on in the middle of the office, documenting.
Just one
Um,
moment. Yeah.
but yeah, as Kelly said, I was the guy that got two upper respiratory infections every year. I didn't have severe asthma, but I had exercise-induced asthma. Used an inhaler occasionally. I mean, in our married life, Kelly, I think I had one big asthma attack in my 40s. But literally 6 weeks into starting Protandim Nrf2, woke up one morning, went, I'm like, wow, I feel so different. And I could only equate it to the feeling I would get when I'd be like in an over-chlorinated indoor swimming pool area, where your lungs feel squeaky clean. And that day we went for the same, 4.5, 5 mile run that we've been doing for 5 years. And I didn't wheeze. And it was the first time I hadn't wheezed, and I haven't wheezed since. And that was 11 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks so much, Arthur, for sharing. And two of our children used to take inhalers as well, and they're all off everything. So it's just one of the, oxidative stress related, I guess I'll call it like a disease, right? That shows up. So thank you, Heidi, for sharing that. You guys, so this is what is really powerful is when we can upregulate genes, the difference between the direct antioxidants versus our body making antioxidants, this becomes really incredible because we all know that our body has trillions of free radicals. And so when we're trying to access antioxidants through direct antioxidants and neutralizing them with our typical vitamin C, E, resveratrol, and even through sulforaphane, because sulforaphane, even though it can activate the Nrf2 pathway, we're still trying to access it directly with those direct antioxidants. When you can truly upregulate that Nrf2 pathway through Nrf2, and I'm going to show you some research in just a second, the body produces its own antioxidants, right? We can't take these. We have to make these, and it can upregulate superoxide dismutase, catalase, and glutathione by up to 300%. So the activation is amplified to that response. And you can see here in just a moment, right? This is our dietary model. It's a 1-to-1, one good guy, one bad guy, one antioxidant, one free radical. That equation is gone. The problem is we've got trillions of free radicals. So when you activate Protandim Nrf2, it neutralizes 1,000,000 free radicals every second per second. So what you see over there is from a research study. And after 30 days, when you do a blood test in oxidative stress, you could no longer distinguish the blood between a 20-year-old and an 80-year-old. And it's clinically proven to say that Protandim Nrf2 reduces oxidative stress in 100% of people by an average of 40% in 30 days. So that's a pretty profound statement because obviously we know that oxidative stress is linked to so many diseases. Now, some of you may be wondering, like, come on, all right, I know green tea, I know curcumin, I know ashwagandha. These are all really good things that we should be using to upregulate the Nrf2 pathway. Well, why Protandim is so unique and so different is it's these 5 herbs, you guys, okay? Ashwagandha, green tea, bacopa, milk thistle, and turmeric. It's not the 5 herbs alone. It's the microdose of them in synergy that makes Protandim Nrf2 18 times more effective than any individual ingredient. So as you can see, this is the upregulation here. And the control, just so you know, is sulforaphane. Some of these individual ingredients actually had a negative effect. But in this specific combination of Dr. Joe McCord's 40 years of research, he even says himself that it was like finding a needle in 2 haystacks, not even 1 haystack. And if you go back to the history and you see some of the original videos, actually Dr. David Perlmutter was with Dr. Joe McCord during the early days of this formulation. So even even he says himself, hey, listen, I've got a product that I market and white label and it's all great, but it is nothing compared to Protandim Nrf2. These are just some of the third-party validation studies, and this is hard to find in our world, in the nutraceutical world, in the all-natural world, right? But these are universities that are pretty respected all around the world. When I started reading them, from Ohio State, Colorado, Harvard, Washington, American Heart Association, it was really eye-opening to see what they're all talking about and the effects that this is having. I'm going to show you just a couple slides. These are old, so yeah, that's a little fuzzy, you guys. But this is some of the 400 genes that Protandim Nrf2 response has, okay? So what they did, you see in this little rectangle, I'm going to blow that gene set up. And this is a group of 60 genes that is activated by Protandim Nrf2. Now, let me show you what happens. This, you can see the red bars. Some of the red bars are above the line, and some of the red bars way down low are below kind of that green line that you guys see. When those genes are put in Protandim solution, the job of Protandim is to upregulate genes and to turn down the ones that are being overexpressed and to turn up the ones that are being underexpressed. Look across the board what this does to the genes, brings them all back in balance. About 2/3 of them are under and about 1/3 of them are over being expressed. This one here that it's highlighted in the yellow arrows, that is one that is for fibrosis or scarring. And when cardiologists took a look at this, they asked them, like, why are you excited about Protandim? And they said, because normally if I go in and do a bypass surgery, because of the scar tissue around the heart, I need to revise that in about 10 years. And if this does what this is showing that it does to the gene, and it reduces that scar tissue in the body, potentially I never have to go in for a replacement or revision of that bypass again. And there's a clinical research study that relates to that. I just wanted to show you guys a couple genes, right? This is 19 genes associated with atherosclerosis. And ultimately, the red arrows are showing these genes going up by the disease process. When you activate Protandim, you can see what happens with those genes going the opposite direction, right? Amazing. Here's another one. This is associated with colon cancer. I just picked a handful of completely random different diagnoses. Again, you know what I'm realizing? I put in the wrong slide because you see what happens to the disease process and then not what happens with Protandim. Obviously, it reverses it as well. And I gave you one more. I only gave you one page of this because 66 genes wouldn't fit on one page, but this is what's happening with Alzheimer's, right? Look at all these genes in the disease process and how Protandim downregulates that gene expression. I have APO3, okay, not O4, thank goodness, but 3. And I will tell you, I want to regulate my genes associated with that as much as absolutely possible. So Protandim Nrf2 is research nutraceutical that's designed to activate that Nrf2 pathway, enhance the body's natural defense mechanisms. And there's scientific studies on PubMed. There's 28 of them over there you can see that regulate gene expression. And it can boost your antioxidant production by up to 300%, reduces your oxidative stress markers by 40% in 30 days. And ultimately, these are all genes associated with longevity, cellular protection and processes, and of course, that inflammatory response. I am going to talk about 2 other products that activate other things here briefly, and then I'm going to pass it back to Dr. Heidi for a second. But we know with that Nrf2 pathway, it's getting rid of our free radicals, the oxidative stress, that cellular aging, the trash, right? But also what's important is we can actually also activate our mitochondria to give our body the energy. We can do that and we need more mitochondria to feel better, to have all of the processes that's happening. But when you upregulate more support in your mitochondrial health, which we need for all of that cellular energy, we also get more trash. So therefore, we definitely need to upregulate Nrf2 to take out that trash. And this is just kind of an image to see, right? If there's a burning fire, if you build more mitochondria, you put bigger logs on that fire, you're going to end up with more soot at the bottom of that fire, more trash to take out. So you need to support the mitochondria, but you've got to be supporting that Nrf2 pathway. And the last of the Protandims that this company has come out with is Protandim NAD. NAD, of course, right, is all about our longevity genes. It's our family of sirtuins through those 7 for sirtuins that have so much to do with optimizing our gene expression in relationship to longevity. A lot of talk about it. There's a lot of precursors of it. And then this is just from, again, we can show you guys more clinical research of, yes, you can do caloric restriction. That's not great for everybody, and most of us can't do that all the time. But when you compare it to precursors on the market, precursors only are able to activate it by about 2% or 4%. But what this company has done is they've eliminated the rate limiting step. Therefore, they're able to upregulate that NAD in the body 100%. So that's super exciting. And I'll let you talk for just a second, because I know you're going to have to really run. I think somebody's unmuted. If you guys don't mind just muting, just to keep the line open so everybody can hear.
From this,
but I also was putting in this cute thing Marcy added, you guys. Let me see if I can find.
From this person from 3x4.
All right, I think I got the mute. Marcy posted it, and it was so cute, Marcy. I had to throw it in because everyone's like, collagen, collagen, right? Well, I know how important collagen is as the structure, as a physical therapist, right? It's the scaffolding, it's the building block of everything in our body, anything stretchy. So whether it's your joints, your blood vessels, your blood-brain barrier, your gut barrier, of course, skin, hair, nails, right? But collagen honestly is so much more. But if you look at every other collagen on the market, there is no clinical research to show that it can upregulate genes. You guys, this is upregulating our genes, turning back on our genes that build collagen. And it's also down-regulating the gene, the MMP9 gene, by 33%. That's responsible for degrading our collagen. So this is what's really exciting, that the company is looking at different ways to really, from a genetics level, activate the body. Dr. Heidi, you still with us by chance?
I am indeed.
Excellent. So anything you want to say about any of those other products and leading into collagen? Because I know you've seen some really dramatic results.
Yeah. First of all, you get impressed with the Nrf2, but then knowing the Nrf1 activates all those genes that support our mitochondria. And they have that NAD, which, NAD right now is all the hot topic. Everyone's talking about it. Oh, get NAD. And they've been doing it for years. They've had it in there for years. And the NAD that helps with senescent cells, cells that want to die off, that make us age more quickly, the Protandim Nrf1 and Nrf2 synergy of that slows that aging down, slows that death of our cells, death of our mitochondria by clearing it out. It's profound. And what's lovely about the company that further impresses me as a clinician is I don't have a lot of nutraceutical companies that I work with that all the products are synergistically designed to work together and enhance each one. So this is a unique part about Protandim 1 and 2 and the collagen, is that all of it works better together and by design. It's not an accident. And that they test it that way. So it's really unique. So you can take several other products, no matter what they make. They all have the Nrf2 technology with it and the technology to activate other genes and wind down other genes, but activated better together. So really profound research there with them.
Yeah, amazing. It's really amazing. And you guys, really, I'm going to really open it up to Q&A. This is truly about education. And I know there's been, and I'm just putting it out there, right? Because it's 100% transparency. The company went because it was on the store shelves. Nobody knew what the heck Nrf2 even was, right? 15 years ago. So in 2009, the company had to make a shift and go to direct selling. So yes, it is a company. It is publicly traded. It's very transparent. You can see it on the NASDAQ, LFVN. It is a debt-free company that is on a mission to help literally lead the charge of wellness. And so you can come in as an affiliate, use these products and serve. You can come in and just buy the products from Marcy or whoever invited you, or you can come in yourself and you can build a team in traditional network marketing should you ever choose to. But that's not what this is about. This is about getting the best products in your hands to serve your clients in the best way possible. And I have seen incredible things. If I could download my brain into yours, Heidi could as well. My husband could as well. I know Marcy is starting to already see so much. And so with that, you guys, I'm going to stop sharing screens. This is really just kind of an introduction 101. And I mean, I've looked at a lot of other products and companies, and there isn't science out there with these products that are patent and patent pending that can even come close to the benefits of these products are doing in activation. Marcy, thank you for bringing everybody together. I don't know if you want to come on and say something while we're waiting for any questions. And definitely, you guys, Marcy, show them the ABC investigative report because that's just so profound. I mean, I was like, oh my God, if it really just reduces oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days, then doesn't every single person need it? And the answer truly is like, yes.
Yeah, I mean, well, for the amount of time I've been with 3x4, I mean, for anybody that's new at the company, I mean, we learned that sulforaphane, and that's what, I mean, they don't talk about brands, but that's the only one they'll say where to get the sulforaphane. So when I discovered Kelly through a mutual friend that she was using Protandim and was 3x4 trained, I was so confused and curious. And so that's kind of one thing led to the other. But I, asked a gazillion questions and looked at all the studies because I was like, why doesn't anybody know about this? And I asked in the 3x4 community about it. I did get a couple practitioners that say, oh, yeah, my so and so like told me about it and I'm on it. So there were a couple of people out there that actually are using it. But in general, I mean, the company, a lot of the practitioners are from other countries. So they don't know about it. They're unaware. And quite honestly, the company's not super interested in brands and talking about what's out there. They stay very neutral. But I have myself and my entire family on it. I've done my Dutch test. I can see that my detox pathways are looking amazing. We have all these people out there taking glutathione, and you don't necessarily need to take it if your body is making it. Like if somebody's going through like a mold detox, like I deal with a lot of that. Maybe they also need to be taking it separately, but I don't know. I mean, the company is pretty amazing, and just don't be deterred by the business model because I was like so not interested in that. But you don't. I mean, you just sell the product like anything else. You don't have to do anything but sell the product. But when we get these test results back, you're gonna want something to activate NRF2 and the mitochondria, and I mean, it's just a tool. So.
Exactly.
Oh, and today, if anybody missed it, the reason I did that post on the collagen, there is a video that they probably, I don't know when they're going to post it, but they did a whole thing on the collagen pathway this morning. And it is really nice to be able to show a client, like, look, you've got all these SNPs on the collagen pathway, boom, boom, boom. And then there you go, you've got a collagen that literally has studies showing how it works on those specific genes. I mean, there's no other collagen out there that does that.
Yeah, thank you, Marcy. And the question, you guys, is how young of a patient can we use the Nrf2 Protandim? I will be honest. I personally have had little kids, 3, 4 years old on it, but we've had friends of friends or other colleagues that they've known their kids either on spectrum or near drowning or whatever, and they're putting it like infants in peg tubes in people's bottles. They're shaking it up. My daughter, when she couldn't swallow, we would just crush it and put it in applesauce. So because it's all natural and it's turning on this natural pathway in the body, there's no harm, and it will just do what your own body needs it to do. So that I love as well. Yeah, and my dog use it. Our dogs use it. Other questions, you guys? This is so great. And if you don't have questions or you don't have questions today, reach back out to Marcy and just have a bigger conversation. When you start learning and just saying, okay, I'm going to try myself and I'm going to put 3 or 5 family members or clients on this and just see what it's doing in our lives. There is a private Facebook group that other people have their stories and testimonials. Jump inside that to learn more, hear from other people. I mean, I just know as a person, as a health practitioner, like I always say, will do no harm. If I know that there's something that can help somebody out there, I'm going to tell them about it. What they do is up to them, the person, to you guys, it's okay. But we feel compelled to share real science.
I just want to say the Facebook group, if anybody wants the link to that, well, now I have the link. I had trouble getting the link. Um, it is actually amazing. So now, like when I hear somebody's having an issue, I will go into that group and just search the topic. And it's unbelievable what the stories out there. Like, I mean, these are real stories using those products. I mean, I went in there this week because I had somebody that was dealing with Lyme and mold, and I found a couple extremely mind-blowing videos of people that were dealing with Lyme and mold, and while you still have to do the necessary things to work on that, I mean, ultimately, all those things cause oxidative stress. So if they can lower that while working on everything, I mean, that just makes them feel better and be able to handle whatever they're going through. But the stories in there are mind blowing. You can go in there and see if but those videos cannot be really shared outside the Facebook group. So
Yeah.
because we have to be careful what we say.
And I do want to say to everybody, right? We're talking about 3x4 genetics and optimizing genes. It's clear to say, right? This is a nutraceutical product that is not here to treat, cure, prevent, or mitigate any disease or disease process. But if we can optimize our genes, we're going to feel better and the cells can communicate and do more. Dr. Heidi, if you're still there, any other closing thoughts? You may have already gone.
I think she left.
I think she left. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else before we close tonight? Well, it was a pleasure meeting all of you guys. I hope this was educational and informative for you guys. Please just communicate with Marcy, and we're here for questions. So you guys have a great night.
Thanks, Kelly. Thanks for taking the time. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.